Who the Hi friends, welcome back. It's DJ Montague, and I haven't made a video in a while. I would like to explain a little bit of why. Basically, I'm going to put this video up just as a explanation of what happened over the last year to kind of explain why I stopped making Lost Ark content and give people an idea of what was going through my mind and also what's going to happen with this channel going forward. So, first of all, I'm not really playing Lost Ark anymore. And I know that this channel and my Twitch channel were kind of built and made through Lost Ark, and while I appreciate Lost Ark for what it has given me, the game is not in a place that I truly enjoy it anymore, and that's mostly my fault. Now, I struggle with some mental health issues when it comes to like ADHD and simple things like that, so I have problems where my memory or my drive or my focus is completely depleted, and I can't consistently play at the top of the game where I want to be. Now, that's my own stuff. That's no fault of Lost Ark. That's going to be where any game I decide to play or decide to commit my time to, but I don't want to be punished as hard for not being in the top 0.1% of players when it comes to PvE, especially. You know, I love PvP. Time committal to continue to play that game. So that's one of the main reasons why I've kind of stopped playing. Another reason is PvP became unrewarding. Now, when we were playing in tournaments and we were doing all that stuff in the very beginning of the North American content release, it felt really good to get into competitive anything again, where my name was being spoken so highly, and it was a very like liberating experience to show that I could still compete. I'm 36 years old. Like, I always want to compete. That's what we want to do. That we're gamers, right? Like, a lot of gamers play to compete. A lot of gamers obviously play to enjoy the game, and whatever you dictate as enjoying, we'll get into that We'll get into that later. But what happened was my YouTube channel suffered because I wasn't dumping content. I was just scrimming, practicing, and I didn't really have any like management group or anything that could make videos with my YouTube content and then transfer that. And what would happen is I'd play 8 to 10 to 12, 14 hours in a day of either doing PvE content, practicing, scrimming, and then going into the rest of the evening and then going into my day job. And I was like, dude, I can't keep up. And so it was a pretty big issue with streams and everything like that, where everything about Lost Ark became demotivated. And that's not to say, again, it's Lost Ark's fault. Lost Ark has its faults, and of course we'll talk about that. But in general, this is my mindset going into the game and how I approach playing the game and why I stopped. One of the other big things is how time committal PvE has been in the game. Now, when I played on Russian servers, I didn't do PvE because I wanted to save it for NA release, knowing that NA was coming out. So I only did up to Vicus Gate 1 in Russia. And with just the minimal amount of PvE that I had done, I knew that going into Clown and going into Belshazzar was going to be a really fun experience. And I had done Belshazzar. That was something that I always wanted to do, and we had some really fun times doing Belshazzar with Aegis, and it was great. But again, like, I wanted to PvP. I just wanted to fight people all day, you know, like that was what brought me enjoyment. And I know that content was always the battle in my head, was how am I going to put out content when all I do is play Paladin? You're going to get the same perspective every day. And so I kind of beat myself up about it. Now, I have a vast knowledge of how the game was played at a very, very high level, but that's something that comes with, I want to say, like, depression, where you don't believe that your content is worth putting out. And that was an issue that I always had, where I felt like my perspective has never been worth it. And It is. I know it is. I know that I'm a smart player, and I know that my content is going to be worth it to some extent, to someone. Whether or not it's just some average Joe that we're sitting here chatting about how Paladin was actually one of the worst classes when everybody thinks it's one of the best, or something silly like that. I understand that when I say things like that, people take it as like fact when it's hyperbole. But anyways, it just got to a point where Lost Ark wasn't rewarding for me, and there were a lot of other things that happened in the real world, in real life, that had stopped me from really cementing and putting more content out. And really quickly, I'll go into that. One of the things that was really hard was all of my parents over the last 2.5 years have all passed away. So it's almost 3 years now, but my father passed away, which is my closest parent. I was always very close to my dad. He passed away, and it was a pretty hard time for us, and that's when I really started getting serious about streaming and content creation again. And then about a year later, my stepmother passed away from COVID and some other complications. And I want to say 10 months ago, I'm not very good with time, but I want to say about 10 months ago, my mother passed away as well. So within 2 years of my father passing, all of my parents were gone. And it was a very hard experience. Like I said, I'm not super young, but I'm not all that old. And I didn't really understand how much of an impact it would have on my day-to-day life and how I viewed the world and how much I relied on them for moral support and stuff like that. And so it was very hard to continue to have the drive that I had right at the beginning of Lost Ark, and really continue to push forward and make new content and really put all this stuff out into the world and my ideas and stuff when I was going through so much that I didn't really, and still don't really, understand how to navigate. Now, again, that's a big point of things, and I don't want to use it as an excuse of why I stopped creating content, because in the end, the reason I stopped creating content is because I did, not because of all of these other things. While they're big, they still, the most important thing is what I'm able to do and what I should do to continue furthering a career. Now, the reason I'm making this video is to just kind of give people an understanding. I'm not going to like blast this on Discord and Twitter and all that stuff. It's so people that came here for Lost Ark have an understanding of why I'm not playing it anymore. And that's okay. Now, what the channel will be going forward is going to be a multitude of things. I have a lot of ideas about different videos that I want to put out, and different ideas, and do variety and stuff like that. But this channel, probably until it finds its footing again, will be pretty varied. Diablo 4 content, talking about like Warlander or something like that, or whatever it is, whatever I decide to put onto YouTube, just gonna kind of go up when it happens. I'm gonna try to do my best to make videos consistently, but again, there's the idea of directionlessness happening within the channel. And I understand if you want to stick around and hang out and chat and stuff, obviously come to Twitch. I'm still streaming on Twitch and stuff like that. It's a much easier platform to chat with me about video games. But if you're looking specifically for YouTube content, I'm sorry, I can't give you a specific thing that you're looking for when it comes to like either Lost Ark or whatever it may be. Maybe you just want to talk about new MMOs coming up. I do want to talk about that. I do want to talk about Blue Protocol. I want to talk about Perfect New World. I want to talk about Diablo. I want to talk about PAX Day. I want to talk about all this new stuff coming out. And it's just a matter of difficulty putting out content like that when I have all these roadblocks in my head of like just sitting down in this chair and being able to be candid and talk about a video game. So the next plan, the next idea that I have is putting up a video about Diablo 4 and breaking down the new patch notes and how I think it's kind of not great. And I know a lot of people are saying that it is a lot better, but there's some class balance issues that they didn't focus on and didn't discuss, and that makes me worried. So I know we'll be having some other things coming up as well, whereas April 21st, after the Diablo 4 event, we will be doing a new video with myself and Ben. I know you guys have potentially seen the new video, the new podcast that I have put up, trying to reconnect with old friends with Ben, making a new podcast and having Canon on and chatting about Diablo 4 and Blue Protocol, which was awesome. One of my favorite things I've done recently. So while we're all on this journey, hope you stick around for it. And thank you. Thank you for listening. And I will see you guys in a couple videos, or in the next video, or what does that even fucking mean? I will see you guys soon. How about that? Thank you.